right, everybody, welcome back to the Fourth and Long podcast. It's me and Jake here. This is episode 21. We've done 21 episodes in 2020, so that's pretty good. And episode 21, and kind of title that is an Alabama Clemson game for the national championship inevitable at this point. So, but we'll get into that. How you doing, Jake?
Good. How are you, Justin?
I'm pretty good. It's really, really fucking cold now, and I don't like it. But yeah. So, what's your New Year's resolution?
To be more open-minded when it comes to college football teams and not just harp down on one.
Wait, is that supposed to be me? Are you telling me I should be?
No,
like
I
that?
should. You told me stop hopping on the Kyle Trask, Zach Wilson bandwagon, so I'm gonna try to be more open coming to 2021.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what mine is. I don't know. I guess maybe lose some weight. I don't know. I never really stick to anything. So, but this might be a longer podcast or it might be a shorter podcast. I think it'll end up being a little bit shorter because, I mean, there's really only really two games to talk about, and then we'll briefly go over the New Year's Six. But it has been weird about how quickly we've transitioned from the end of the conference championships to, I mean, the playoff being tomorrow. Like, yeah. I'm so used to it being, I mean, championships are played in the first week of December, and then no one plays again until like January 1st. So it's definitely been very quick, and it's kind of taken me by surprise, I would say. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to the games tomorrow, but I'm not looking forward to them as much as I wish I was, because I just come out and say I don't think either game's gonna be very close.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, I think Ohio State could. I mean, we watched. I mean, I don't know if you watched it, but the Florida-Oklahoma game. So you never know.
Yeah, I mean, the way Oklahoma beat Florida. I mean, that's in there. We'll get to that in like 5 minutes. But I mean, we said it kind of going into the bowl season. It's like whoever wants to be there more. And the only thing that sucks now is that Oklahoma crushed Florida. So next year, if they have one loss or less, I mean, they're automatically in. They're going to be like, they should have been in this year over Notre Dame or Ohio State. So, and I just can't take any more bad teams in my playoffs. And I've actually started today. I got to do 6 more, but I've started ranking all the 24 teams that have played in the playoffs. I'll pull it up right quick, but. And it's this might, I would say Notre Dame and Ohio State this year would be pretty low on this list. But I've split them up basically into 3 categories, 60. So I'll do 2 more today. First category is should never have been there, and I finished it yesterday. And who did I have in here? I know I had Michigan State from 2000. Michigan State from 2014 or 2015-16 when they beat, I don't know if you remember, but they beat Iowa in the Big Ten championship they got the ball back with 9 minutes to go in a tie game, and they went on a 22-play 9-minute drive and ran it. I mean, it was the most like deflating loss ever for a team. But so yeah, that was the worst team, I think. And then they did beat Ohio State in the horseshoe that year, but and then next I have the 2016-2017 Buckeyes, who lost to Clemson 31-0. They're the only teams to get shut out. But yeah, just check that out if you want to. I don't know. It's interesting. I honestly think my top 4 will end up being, or they'll all be in the top 6. Is that the group of 4 from 2017-18 maybe, with it was Oklahoma, Clemson, Georgia, or Oklahoma, Clemson, Georgia, and Alabama, and 2 of them went into double overtimes, or I went to overtime. So yeah, I'll be finishing that up today. But while we're at it, let's kind of recap the Oklahoma Florida game. You're the big Florida guy. What you got for me?
I mean, it was a tough game to watch. Florida just looked like they didn't really want to be there. I mean, you had Kyle Trask, who was is a Heisman finalist, throwing 3 picks in the first quarter. It just was super uncharacteristic. And I'm not trying to make excuses, but they were missing 4 defensive starters and also 4 of their top wide receivers. So
Yeah, I know.
it was like Trask, you got to do everything, or you just. But on the
Yeah,
other hand, you allow Oklahoma to just run the ball on you. They had over 400 yards rushing yesterday, and
Oklahoma
it's
did.
just like, yeah, it was
Jeez.
insane. It was just that's all they did was run the ball. Spencer Rattler didn't really have to throw out. He had 4 touchdown passes, but everything was like he had under 250 yards passing and was 23 of 34 was 22 of like 27. Like it was they just ran the ball. That's all they did.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I know at least one of the Florida number one. I can't think of it. Tony Kadarius Tony. I know he sat out for the game, and he kind of came out and said it, and he defended it. And I think he's right. I mean, if you have the chance to be drafted, and you're not playing in um, that game and not playing in the semifinals, there's not. I mean, it's honestly not really a point. I mean, we've seen in the past what happened to Jalen Smith. I mean, so I don't blame the guys for sitting out. I did think
Yeah.
that it would mean a little bit more just because it was a Cotton Bowl game and it was versus number 7 Oklahoma. But like I said, I can't blame them for sitting out. Especially, I
Yeah.
mean, it could be getting worse. So who knows?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for some people is if they sit out, because I actually read this morning, if they sit out for one of the bowl games, so it's like one last game with their teammates, but opt into the Senior Bowl, because many of the guys will probably opt into the Senior Bowl this year.
Yeah,
That's
I
kind
think
of
Trask is going to head to the Senior Bowl, I believe.
yeah. But he played in the game; he didn't sit out.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. I mean, well, because the Senior Bowl is basically, I mean, we'll talk about it when it gets there, but I mean, it's basically just it's basically the first NFL Combine. Basically, it's just except it's all the older players, and so usually you don't play in the Senior Bowl if you don't really have a lot to prove. But then again, no one really makes it to senior year anymore, really, except for Baker Mayfield and Joe Burrow, so who made it to 6 years. So with that, we're gonna hop into some news and notes. So, kind of going back to Oklahoma, Florida. After Florida's lost to Oklahoma, head coach Dan Mullen said we could have skipped the bowl. I don't like that from him saying that. To be honest, like it's just kind of a cop out. Like, yeah, you could have skipped the bowl. We get it. I know, but
mhm.
and I know some of your players did, but I mean, come up with a better answer than we could have skipped it. So I just don't know why he said that or why he couldn't come up with a better answer. That we didn't play that well. We were missing some guys, but so Dan Mullen is he's kind of fallen down. Like I used to when Florida was rolling. I mean, really like Dan Mullen and their offensive play calling. Lately, he's just been. I mean, other than the SEC championship, which was also because Alabama didn't have a defense, but I mean, he's fallen down for me. He said some interesting things to the press, and it's just he's a weird dude, I think. And like, yeah, dude, we know you could have skipped the bowl, but
Yeah. I mean, I
what?
feel like he at that point he should have just owned up to it
Yeah,
because it's like, okay, you guys lost. We understand you're missing players. That's still not an excuse if you want to make an argument for being a top 6, top 5 program in the country this year. And you guys
exactly.
could have been, but you lost to LSU and you lost to Texas A&M. I mean,
He just needed to say he just said it the wrong way. Like,
yeah,
yeah, we could have skipped it. Like that's a cop out. So,
yeah,
um, kind of big news, but kind of not really because I really don't think it matters that much for Clemson. Their offensive coordinator Tony Elliott is tested positive for COVID and will miss the semifinal game. I mean that sucks. But I don't think it's going to make much of a difference.
no,
I mean, with all Clemson's guys and all the athletes, I mean, you could run the triple option at Clemson. It would work. So
yeah,
I'm not too worried that the no offensive coordinator will hurt them. Watch them come out and look like Ohio State in the first half versus Northwestern.
yeah,
But so yeah, that's that. This is kind of weird that I saw this, I think, yesterday, but the NCAA has finally set makeup dates if either semifinal can't be played because of COVID. So that's kind of why we decided to do our show today, was because we know the most up to date news. And as of right now, other than Tony Elliott missing the game and my Browns just being absolutely destroyed by it, there's been no news about anyone testing positive. I mean, I'm sure I mean, I'm sure they're today they should be at least in like where the games being played. I'm sure they got those guys repping bubble wrap right now. Like, and they usually do a media day today for the two semifinals, and I highly doubt they did that. They probably did like a Zoom call.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's sure interesting, and it's just different. But it's good that they set makeup dates because I mean, I guess if one of these gets canceled, it's going to affect college football majorly. So, but whatever.
Hmm.
Um, and then finally, I got you can add something in if you got anything else. South Carolina quarterback Ryan Helinski has entered the transfer portal. He started as a freshman for South Carolina. He looked pretty good. He came into his sophomore year, and he played pretty much all season, but didn't look very good. And then this year, he got benched in like the halfway through the season, and the other guy took over, who was a fifth-year senior, and so he's kind of out the door. He'll probably I could see him ending up at Mississippi State, or I mean he's not good enough to be the next Oklahoma guy or anything like that, but I could see him end up in Mississippi State or something like that. So,
Hmm.
but that's all I got for news and notes. You got anything else, Jake?
I don't think so. I just think it's going to be interesting to see once all the bowl games are done, a week or two away, and see what news comes out. I'm really interested to see what's going on at Georgia. I know we've talked about it, but
Yeah,
there's something else there that's going to come out, and it's going to be really interesting to see what it is. Because
yeah.
again, we were talking about it a couple weeks ago when everyone's like, "Oh, when are you going to start playing JT Daniels over?"
I mean, we said it from week one.
Yeah, we
So,
did.
but and I would like to see. I know LSU's imposed a 1 year ban on themselves, but I don't know if we'll end up talking about it on here because it's a touchy subject, and I really don't feel like getting in trouble for just talking about it. But I think some things are going to come out at LSU as well. That's not good, and apparently I've seen some stories that everything that did happen at LSU basically predated Orgeron being there. So that was when Les Miles was there, which I mean, it just seems like those SEC coaches that have been at the same school forever. It's like they run the school. Like
Hmm.
Alabama, I mean, Nick Saban is the mayor of Tuscaloosa, and I mean, Les
Yeah,
Miles was with LSU forever. So I mean, I'm sure he. I mean, so that it just doesn't surprise me, but it'll be interesting to see what comes out. Then I haven't really followed it that much. I know that like there were cops involved. I don't know, but it'll be definitely an interesting off season. It's also going to be really interesting, I think, and that we'll probably talk about this not next week, but the week after. Who decides to come out for the draft? Because I mean, you definitely have some guys that um, need to come out right away. Like obviously, I think Zach Wilson, his ceiling will never be higher.
hmm,
He has no reason to go back. And then on the other hand, I look at a guy like Justin Fields, and not be just because I want him to come back and because at Ohio State, but I, he could use another year at college to get good tape back, and then maybe next year he goes number one overall. Even though I think, well, actually, no, who's not? He can't go number one overall next year. I mean, it's going to be Trevor Lawrence this year, and then in 2 years, it's going to be DJ Ukulele that's going to go
yeah.
number one, or Bryce Young, one of those guys. But DJ Ukulele is 6'4", so he seems like the more fit. But I mean, so the next year's quarterback could be someone. I mean, I assume Bo Nix will come out next year.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, he hopefully for the sake of his life, he comes out after next year because there's nothing good for him in there. But I mean, I could
Yeah.
see a guy like Justin Fields coming back to school
Hmm.
because he needs new tape. Because I mean, the last 3 or 4 games they played, I mean, he has been horrible, and I mean, they could have. I mean, they should have lost the Indiana game, but and they should have lost Northwestern game, but Trey
Yeah.
Sermon decided to go off. Um, so let's like I said, we'll just get right into the semifinal matchups. I kind of just broke it down a little bit, like who has the edge on offense, defense, special teams, and
Hmm.
um, like coaching. So, I mean, you can go ahead and start, and we'll start with Alabama Notre Dame. Just kind of give it what you think is going to happen, and what you think is going to happen.
I've been reading some reports. I think I think Notre Dame might actually have a chance here. I think we could see something like I think their defense is actually going to step it up and take the embarrassing loss to Clemson and use it as a motivational standpoint and be like, we deserve to be here. Like everyone says we don't deserve to be here. Like we beat Clemson in the season, but they were missing Trevor Lawrence and we got absolutely walloped by them because they had Trevor Lawrence. So I think they're going to use that to play up in a sense that they're going to be more physical. They're going to try to get nasty, and they're going to try to push Alabama out of their comfort zone because Alabama is not known for playing like hard nosed, dirty football. They've always
Not anymore, at least.
no,
Yeah.
yeah, but they've always fallen back on fundamentals. Keeping their heads clean, and I think Notre Dame's going to try to dig underneath that skin and get them riled up. And I think it could backfire to a sense. You might have players going at it on the sideline because they're frustrated because it's closer than everyone thinks it's going to be.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, go ahead.
I was just going to break it down. Like I think the only edge Notre Dame has is their defense. I just think Alabama's everything else on Alabama, their special teams, their offense, and their their discipline on offense is everything that everything Notre Dame has on defense.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be the biggest matchup to watch this week.
Yeah. I actually saw, I was looking at 247 Sports. They put out an article 2 days ago or yesterday that said Notre Dame was kind of preparing for Jalen Waddle, which I find pretty crazy because I've heard nothing about him playing, even though I'm sure Nick Saban has, like I said, Tuscaloosa on lockdown. But yeah, I've heard nothing about him playing. But I did see that they were kind of just at least preparing for him a little bit because I mean, if Jalen Waddle came back and he was at 80 or 90%, I mean, Alabama would win both these games by 20, 30 points.
Yeah. I mean,
But
especially with Devontae Smith playing out of his mind.
exactly. All you need is Waddle to pick up like 8 catches or 5 catches or something like that, and just be or in the return game just be dangerous.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think the offensive edge definitely goes to Clemson. Even if Trevor Lawrence wasn't playing and it was DJ Ugalele there, I'd still say the offensive like the edge goes to Clemson because I mean they're just full of so many athletes. I mean Etienne can line up out wide if he wants to. I think that's one of the key factors, one of the key players to watch in that first game is I mean Travis Etienne. I mean he was nowhere to be found the first time Notre Dame played Clemson. He was okay in the
Don't you mean Alabama? We're talking Alabama versus
I
Notre
know.
Dame.
I don't know why I keep thinking. Why do I keep saying Travis Etienne? Why do I keep saying that? So never mind. Yeah, but I think Notre Dame has the edge in defense, absolutely, and I don't think there's anyone in the country that can match firepower with Alabama. And I mean, even on special teams, Alabama has like 3 different kickers on their team. And one of them's from like inside 30 yards, one of them's from inside 40 yards, one of them's from outside 50 yards. It's like, I mean, do something better with your scholarships. But I think Notre Dame defense does have the edge. But then again, Alabama has all the athletes and all the players it would need to come out and like play a dominant defensive game.
Yeah,
I mean, Dylan Moses is still good. I can't think of his name. One of the freshmen, not Tyler Davis, he plays for Clemson. One of their freshman linemen has looked really good. I mean, you got probably a top 3 corner, probably going to be a top 5 pick out there in Patrick Surtain. And like I said, you got Dylan Moses, who's going to be a first round pick, who would have been, had he not come back I think he dropped in the draft really because, I mean, he hasn't been the same as he was last year. So,
yeah, I mean, he's definitely had a struggle this year, but going back to you said your play, my player to watch it really is Ian Book. I mean, like we talked about it in the ACC championship game, he needed to have the game of his life in order to have a chance against Clemson with Trevor Lawrence at the helm, and he's gonna have to step it up again. It's gonna have to be the same game it was when they faced Clemson. When Notre Dame faced Clemson in the regular season, that's the type of game he needs to have. He's a pass for almost 400 yards, have probably 3 to 4 touchdowns. And another factor they got to do is get Keyshawn, their running back, involved. You
Yeah.
haven't really heard out of him their last couple of games,
No.
but he needs to he goes off and it's a whole nother game. He's not as big and not as strong as Najee Harris is, but he's a small, shifty back that is hard to tackle because of his low center of gravity. And if they get that going, that opens up the field for Young Buck because they'll just commit to the run.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't know. I don't know if I think Ian Book is capable of playing the game that he
I
needs
don't
to
I
play.
don't either, but it's gonna
Yeah.
be I don't think he's capable of it either. I think that one game against Clemson in the regular season without Trevor Lawrence, you're playing at home. That's a huge thing. They were the number one team in the country at that point, or number two, I forget. But that's a different atmosphere than coming to a neutral site basically and facing the best team in college football for 90% of this year in the
Yeah.
last decade.
Yeah. I mean, so I going back to what I kind of said, I think both these games are going to be very close. I think there's about a 70% chance that they're really actually blowouts, but it's either going to be a blowout or a really close game. It's not going to be anything in between.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think it's going to be a blowout or a really close game. So, um, you got a score prediction?
My score prediction is going to be Alabama 42, Notre Dame 20. I think it's going to be like the Georgia which game? The Georgia Alabama game. It was like 24-20 going into halftime, and then Alabama in the second half just comes out, runs the ball, and then once Georgia committed to the run, they just threw the ball over the middle.
Yeah, I like Alabama to win 55-28.
Okay. What's the spread on it though?
I'm just looking it up right now. It was 10.5 when it opened.
Okay. If it's still 10.5, I'd probably take Alabama 10. Again, it's going to be one of those games that you just don't know. It could go either way.
Yeah,
Notre Dame's defense could play out of their minds and have, force Mac Jones to throw 2 picks in the first quarter. You just don't know.
I mean that's another big thing too, though. I mean they have to get pressure on Mac Jones.
Oh, absolutely. But you're going
I
up
mean,
against arguably the best offensive line all around wise in college football. Not just at one position, but each guy on that offensive line is top 3 in their position group for this year.
yeah. So it should be interesting, but I'm trying to look up the line here. Why can I not find it? Oh, Clemson is favored by 7.5. Alabama is favored by 19.5. I would put Notre Dame. I would take Notre Dame plus 19.5.
Yeah. Oh, there's that. Oh, they pushed it up. Yeah, I would take Notre Dame plus 19.5. I think it's going to be like a 10-point, 17-point game. I just don't think. I mean, it could, but I just think that's too high of a line, especially with Notre Dame. Hey, but you never know. We could see another MSU type year. So
I wonder. I can't remember. I'm gonna look that up too. I wonder what the line was last year between LSU and Oklahoma. So I'm looking that up right now because I know that was a pretty big one. But yeah, we're gonna get into Clemson and LSU Oklahoma was only 13-point spread. LSU was favored by 13. So I mean, they really think Alabama's gonna kill them. So like I said, I think they're gonna kill them, or I'm gonna see it close. And there's like the more I bet, the more I realize that there's value in some stuff. Like there's no point in me putting $25 on Alabama to cover the 20.5, just because it's what everyone's gonna be picking. I think. And so, I mean, it's just more value to take Notre Dame there anyways, because it'll be the underdog. So, but with that, we'll head into the real game, the rubber match. I don't know if you saw, but one of our new guys wrote an article about it. I yelled at him. I'm just kidding. I didn't yell at him. He wrote an article about the rematch. I was like, okay. But so Clemson versus Ohio State. What the heck? Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I gotta find this one sec. All right, I'm good. There was a commercial playing in mine. Sorry,
Mm.
there still is. All right, cool. We're good. Sorry.
North.
We'll head into Clemson versus Ohio State, the rubber match. I don't know for sure. I mean, I think we would have heard.
Well, folks, we are having technical difficulties on our end. Um, I'll kind of give my take. I think this Clemson Ohio State game could be a lot closer than the Alabama Notre Dame, just because Ohio State's offense is a lot more built to compete with the higher scoring games. Their defense has been suspect this year, but you know, Clemson is going to have Trevor Lawrence, who's arguably the best quarterback in college football. So,
All
oh,
right,
welcome
back.
back, Justin.
So it happened. It happened when we recorded the college basketball podcast on Sunday night. Except I was gone for about 5 minutes, and I was still talking without realizing that I had been signed off. Um, but yeah, we get into this. So I think we would have heard by now if Chris Olave and Baron Browning and all their guys that missed the Big Ten championship game were going to miss the game tomorrow as well. So I'm assuming at least Chris Olave will play, and I'm assuming um, Baron Browning will play
Mhm.
because Baron Browning leads the team in tackles and Chris Olave is the leading receiver. Without both of those two, this is, I mean, if you can get any news on this to know for sure if they're not playing, because if they aren't playing, I would take Clemson minus 20 at least. But
Yeah.
just because I think it helps Justin Fields to have his favorite target there. But so I haven't heard anything yet, so I don't know. We'll see, I guess. But I'll kind of break down the edges here for me. I would say Clemson has the edge in two of the three of the categories on the field: special teams. No, I actually Drew Christmas. Ohio State gets the special teams edge, but they get the offensive defense edge, and the coaching edge obviously goes to Ryan Day because Dabo Sweeney's a blood-sucking vampire. So yeah, but no, like I said, this is the same thing that I think the Alabama Notre Dame semifinal will be like. It's either going to be close or it's going to be
Mhm.
20, 25 points, or maybe not 25 points,
So,
but this has a real chance to be the same thing as when I was just explaining my the worst teams to ever make the playoff. This could end up being the same thing where they lose like 35-0 or 31-0 because they can't get anything going. But
yeah.
uh,
Oh, just wanted to let you know they did confirm his return for the Sugar Bowl.
cool. Chris Olave or Browning?
Chris Olave. I'm looking for Browning right now.
Yeah. Yeah, those are two big pieces. It would be huge if they got to play, but um, yeah, we'll see what happens. But I'm looking forward to that game at least. And I had to say something about it. What did I have to say about it? Um, oh yeah, so I did. I have been. I have like I pulled up the highlights from last year's game. I mean, Clemson was just as good last year, and Ohio State was a little bit better than they are this year. But I mean, Ohio State was up 16-0 in that game and went into
Mhm.
halftime up 16-14, and they just blew it. I mean, and you also, I mean, I'm not making excuses. Clemson was the better team, but Sean Wade, who was the incredible, he was very very good last year in the slot with Okuda and Damon Arnett on the others on the two corners. He got thrown out when he sacked Trevor Lawrence just because Trevor Lawrence lowered his head to take the hit. It was one of those. I mean, that's what we'll talk about that too. But the NCAA needs so badly to make a rule change about the helmet to helmet contact. It should be two categories. It should be intent and you get 15 yards and you get thrown out, and then there should be no intent where it's just 15 yards, player stays in the game.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they are throwing way too many people out of these. I mean, even remember back to the Big 12 championship when Iowa State's best safety got thrown out in 30 seconds into the game. They need to do something about it, and them going to replay to confirm or deny that it doesn't help anything. So, I mean, it needs to be changed to two categories: intent or non-intent, because you can, I mean, anyone who's been around football enough, you can tell when a guy is lowering his head and wants to hit you hard in the head.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. And you can also tell when someone is just kind of like getting bracing for the hit. But that was, and basically after Sean Wade last year got thrown out, I mean, it all went downhill. They were up 14-0, and it all went downhill. So,
Well, we're experiencing some more technical difficulties, folks, but I think he's right. You know, it's a huge difference. Chris Olave is playing, but we don't know if Baron Browning is. Ryan Day just came out 2 hours ago from SI.com saying they're working their way back, but they still don't know if Browning will be able to play. So we'll see, you know, whether that news develops throughout the day, or something could break tonight. But welcome back, Justin.
I don't know what the hell is wrong with it.
I was just telling people. So SI just released an article 2 hours ago saying, from Ryan Day, saying Ohio State players are working their way back after quarantine. He has confirmed that Chris Olave will be playing, but they're unsure about Baron Browning right now. So I was just telling them, you know, hopefully we'll get an answer by, tonight or by tomorrow morning at the latest.
I have a feeling they'll try and it's a linebacker, so it really doesn't matter as much as a quarterback or receiver. But we'll probably hear about that tomorrow. But I lost my train of thought again.
You were going over the edges for Clemson and Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Clemson's got the edge in pretty much every category except coaching. And Ohio State just isn't as good this year as they were last year. I don't think.
Do you have a breaking news button?
I don't know. Someone does.
Because we have breaking news. This just out of ESPN. Kyle Trask will enter the NFL draft.
Oh, shocking!
According to Mel Kiper Jr., he is entering the NFL draft.
That's good.
I just got the notification for it. So
I mean, was he a junior or a senior?
I'm pretty sure he was a junior.
Then I know they only invite certain amounts of juniors to the Senior Bowl. I wonder if he'll get invited.
Or is he a senior? I'm not 100% sure.
Well, because if he isn't a senior, that's terrible breaking news. I mean, if he is a senior, that's just terrible breaking news on your part. Obviously, he's going to enter the draft.
Yeah, no, he is a senior.
Maybe he's a red shirt and he could have one more year. I don't know. But that's good for him. I think some team is going to get very lucky to scoop him up at the end of the first round, and then or the beginnings towards the middle of the second round. I think he'll be a nice pickup. I wouldn't be surprised if he's still around in the second round when the Patriots pick. I wouldn't be surprised if they take him. And I know you're a Patriots fan, but I mean, we'll switch to the NFL for a second. I mean, the Patriots need to come out of this with a quarterback in the first two rounds.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on, again, I was actually just looking at this last night. There's a scenario, like a lot has to go right and wrong, but they have to lose tomorrow. They have to lose this weekend to the Jets, which shouldn't happen. But if it does, and then a couple other things happen, they could potentially have the number 10 overall pick. But I'm just saying it at this point, everyone's saying at this point Belichick will just trade back no matter what, because he doesn't like playing rookie. He doesn't like paying rookies that much money, and having a top 10 pick comes with like a little bit of a price tag. So it's this type of year that he needs to pick at his position. If you move back, the fans are going to hate you unless you compile like two late first round picks. Like if you have the number 10 overall pick and you trade back, but you get say late, so you get like the 16th overall pick and then you get the 25th or 26th overall pick
Yeah,
and
that's
some
fine.
kind of deal, then I take that. At least you're drafting in the first round and you have two draft choices in the first round. But if you just trade back in the first round to say like the late like 20th 21 and you end up giving away say like a third round pick, I can't I can't justify that.
Yeah. I mean, he's always traded back, but I mean, we've clearly learned this year, I think, that Brady was the real reason that that engine kept humming in New England. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does. But I mean, like I said, I think they have to come out with a quarterback. Like just like I think the Browns have to come out of this with some kind of rusher or like a speed rusher, edge rusher, or a linebacker. I mean, they are so weak, or a safety, or another corner. Anything on defense, really.
Oh,
Uh,
also, I wanted to talk to you. Do you think this confirms that Trevor Lawrence will now enter the draft since the Jaguars have the number one overall pick?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know why. Yeah, I do think he's gonna go, but there's also a part of me that still is pulling on me. That says like, if
You
they
don't
don't
know.
win, if they
Yeah.
don't win, he might come back.
Yeah.
But I I don't know if with Trevor Lawrence, I don't think he's gonna come back just because just by coming back for another year. I don't care how much you care about the national championship and how much you care about Clemson. Your stock is never going to get higher. You're going to be the number one pick no matter what year you go for the most part. Um, but so I think he's going to go. I think he would have gone. The Jets had the number one pick. So I mean, and the Patriots could very easily lose to the Jets this week. Just so you know, we lost to the Jets
No,
last week.
no, I know. I'm not saying that it's not a positive. To be
No, I
honest,
know.
I want them to lose. I want to have a higher chance at a draft pick and actually get a good prospect.
Yeah, no,
It's
I
just,
was kidding.
yeah.
We should not have lost to the Jets, but we had three practice squad receivers playing. So that's what I when they announced that, I was like, because you remember the Ravens, like they got to postpone their game because they had like
Mhm.
three running backs, and then the Denver had to play theirs with no quarterback, and we had to play ours with no running or no receivers. So
Yeah.
whatever, it just happens, and I think two more tested positive today, so I have
Yeah.
no hope or anything for making the playoffs. So
Mhm.
um,
I mean, it might kind of going back to well, like just jumping back to the NFL real quick. The only two quarterbacks I want to see the Patriots even have like a chance of going after is Kyle Trask and Justin Fields. Those are the only two quarterbacks that I want them to go after. I don't want them going after Zach Wilson. I want Kyle Trask or Justin Fields because the way the NFL is going, you need a mobile quarterback. Cam, to a point, I mean, he led the league in rushing this year for QB rushing touchdowns and has the most ever in a career. He
more
had
than
11.
more than Lamar.
Yeah, he had 12. He
Oh,
had 12 rushing touchdowns. And throughout his career, he has over 70 rushing touchdowns.
I believe it. I mean, he came in. I mean, maybe you never know. Maybe he's on my "Who Am I" cards.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Um,
He's
but
not.
I feel like the Patriots need to switch their offense from a pocket quarterback position to a team that needs to start running an option type offense.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way the NFL is going. So,
Yeah.
with that, I'll give my score prediction. Uh, they're both going to score a lot of points here. I don't have it up anymore. Whatever the over is, I would hit it. But I think Clemson will end up winning like 45-34 or 45-37, something like that.
Yeah.
And
You said the stat line was Clemson was favored by 7, correct?
7.5.
7.5. Yeah, I think Clemson still has the edge here. But I think it could be a lot. I don't know. It could go up high scoring, so it could be like a 45, 34 game. But I think I'm gonna go with the score line 35 to 17. I feel like is a good score line.
Yeah, that means Clemson was. That means Ohio State was at least in it for kind of a half, maybe not. I don't know.
Mhm.
But so that those are our predictions for the semifinal games, and obviously next week we will obviously give you our predictions for the championship game. I have on here the New Year's Six. Do you have any of the New Year's Six bowls you want to talk about? Like I said, I
Um,
honestly haven't watched a ton of college football. If I'm just chilling or like writing, I'll have one of the games on. But with so many players not playing and so many bad teams playing in bowls,
mhm.
it's just like I don't really care. And the only really, other than now Texas A&M and North Carolina, the only game I cared about other than the two semifinals was Oklahoma and Florida.
Yeah.
So I
I'm surprised. I'm surprised you didn't say the Cincinnati game, Cincinnati versus Georgia. I think that could be a really good game. You know, you've been singing kind of Desmond Ritter's praise the last couple weeks, and I'm surprised you didn't say them.
I mean, it just is like once you get to bowl season for me, like, and especially because there's the playoffs now. Like if you're not Ohio State, and because I like to cheer for Ohio State, I don't love to cheer for them, but I like Ohio State. Like unless you're Ohio State, I don't care about watching your bowl game. Like I just don't unless you're in the semifinals.
Got it.
Yeah, I mean, unless it's, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's just it almost feels like more. I'm like more how when the BCS was what it was. I was the same way with it. It's like if you're not in the national championship, it really doesn't matter. But I also then they also had great matchups through the BCS. They either need to. I mean, this is obviously I'm not going to go off on a tangent, but they either need to expand the playoffs or just go back to two teams and not use the BCS formula. Use the college football playoff rankings, but I mean, just go to two teams. Or I mean, the real answer is expand it to it'll never get expanded past 10. I don't think it'll ever see 8. I think you could see 6, though. I think you could see 6 where the first two seeds get a bye. So,
Yeah.
um, but
Yeah, I
so
feel like I think the way that you proposed in your article, and for those who haven't, Justin posted an article about expanding the college football to 16 teams, but he also addressed the possibility of expanding it to 6 or 8. And I think expanding it to 6, possibly 8, is a perfect situation. Have the first two teams get a bye, and let the rest of them duke it out. I think it would make for really entertaining football. We'd have a Cincinnati, we'd have a Florida in the type of situation that you proposed, but we'd also have an Oklahoma, which might be a good thing because it would show people that they really aren't that good. So
yeah, yeah, like I said, it'll never get past 8, and but I think 8 is the perfect number. I think you take that way you take the champions from the Big Ten, SEC, ACC, AAC, and Pac-12. No, not AAC. Big 12, Pac-12, and then what? So say the 5 conferences. You take the winner of the 5 conferences. Then you got um, 3 at larges, which could either go to like a Cincinnati this year or like a Notre Dame this year, even though they kind of played they did play ACC schedule, so never mind. But or like a BYU, like could have been in, or a Coastal Carolina.
yeah,
So, but that's just talking about it makes me kind of angry because I really wish they would just do 6 teams. But so a bit like you said, like we've talked about before, if you do 6 teams, the 7th and 8th team we're gonna bitch. So I mean,
yeah.
there's no fixing everything.
Hmm.
So with that, we're gonna head into we're not gonna do locks because we kind of already gave our predictions. We'll do a mock draft of our top 10. Do you want to do that, or you want to wait to do that?
Like our top 10 for the NFL or for.
NFL draft, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool to wait
yeah.
to do it, or we can do it now. I mean,
We'll wait to do it, and then we're gonna go to uh,
who am I?
uh, who am I? Yes, I'll explain it to you. Yes. Then we'll do who am I, then Mount Rushmore, and then trivia. So, like I said, should finish in about an hour. So, I did this on Monday. with the college basketball podcast. It's pretty good. It's awesome, and it's a way to kind of shake things up. It's called Who Am I? I'm going to give you a category. This is past Heisman winners,
Okay.
all from 2000 on except for two. I think I have about 9 or 10 or 11 or 12 cards here. The only thing I can do, I can't tell you where they went to school or position they played for or
Right.
in the NFL who they played for.
Okay.
So let me set my timer. You got 60 seconds. And then, like I said, next week you'll write these up. It's pretty
Right.
easy. You just literally, I went down with a marker and just wrote them down. So let me set my stopwatch. All right. So you got 1 minute. Okay. We'll start.
Is it 1 minute from when you start talking or 1 minute after you stop talking?
I don't know.
Okay.
Just go. Ready?
Okay.
Set. Go. All right. I was in the NFL. I'm left-handed. I love Jesus.
Left-handed, you love Jesus. Are you?
I
Oh.
played baseball in the AA for a
Oh,
while.
Tim Tebow.
Um. Uh. Won the Heisman. I'm African American. I'm more of a shorter player. I played in the biggest rivalry game that Justin thinks in.
Troy Smith.
I won it the year after Carson Palmer. I went to. I really shouldn't have won it, but I did
Jason
go to that.
White.
Yes.
Okay.
2002 winner. I don't know why I said that, but was quarterback for the Bengals for a while.
Carson Palmer. You just said.
I know because I can't think of anything else to make it not. Okay, you're done anyways.
Okay.
So you got 4. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It's so hard. I thought it was going to be a lot easier to not say the years and things, but
Yeah.
that's only for like Eric Crouch was next. Then I had Charles Woodson. Those are the only two. Well, no, I guess no. Charles Woodson and Ricky Williams were the only two outside of 2000. I thought you would get those anyways.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry, Mariota, Ingram, Ricky Williams. Okay. All right. So we're gonna go into our Mount Rushmore of college football players from this year, just from this year.
Wait, from college football players from this year. Okay.
Yeah, and then you're only allowed to take one quarterback.
Yeah.
But other than that, you can take whoever you want. We'll do a snake draft. So I get 1, you get 2, I get 2, then you get 1, or whoever goes first, we'll see that. Like I said, you get 1 quarterback, and if you pick something that I want to pick, I can't pick it. So
Okay.
do you want to go first?
No, I'll let you go first.
All right. So I'm going to take Devonta Smith, the receiver from Alabama. If this was a just world, he would win the Heisman. But it's not a just world, and his teammate will probably win it. But it should go to Devonta Smith. Interesting fact: did you know that? Do you remember when Alabama and Georgia played the national championship? Obviously,
Yeah.
And Tua threw the touchdown pass. You know who he threw the touchdown pass to?
Devonta Smith.
Devonta Smith. Yes,
Yep.
I was doing the story.
Devonta Smith was a true freshman in that game.
Yeah. So, like I said, I think offense, defense, special teams, everything. I think he's the best player in college football right now. So now you can go ahead. You got 2.
Well, I'm gonna take my first quarterback off the board. Kyle Trask. I mean, led the nation in passing yards, almost 500 more than Mac Jones with 4,283. I just think he was an absolute animal this year. I don't think you can judge him based off of the Oklahoma game. He just didn't have a lot of weapons at all. You know, Kyle Pitts wasn't really there. Neither was, his other top 3 wide receivers. So.
Okay, so we kind of talked about. You got another one too. Go ahead.
Oh, I got another one.
Yeah.
Ooh, this one's a tough one. I'm gonna go with another wide receiver. I'm gonna go with Elijah Moore. Kid really showed out this year. Perfected his route running and his his get off, his release, and was was close behind Devontae Smith this year. He finished 400 yards under, but people don't realize he missed the first 2 games of the year with an injury. So
Yeah, that's a good pick. That's a good pick. For my second pick, I'm going defense. Um, uh, I'm going to take Elijah Molden in the secondary. Um, he will probably win the Thorpe Award, but he plays slot, he plays man to man on the outside, and he plays safety. So basically, if you have him in there, you can build around him on your team in your secondary. And obviously, I was in the secondary when I played, so I look at it as important. But like I said, you can line him up in the slot, on the outside, at safety, in the box, and he makes plays. So I like Elijah Molden. And then my third one, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, the edge rusher from Notre Dame. I think he's going to have probably best the best pro career out of most of the edge rushers that come out. He's big, he's strong, and he's a good power rusher. So I start my offense with a great quarterback or a great receiver who basically any quarterback can throw to, and then I get someone on the line and in the secondary. So now all I need is my quarterback. So it's you though. You got two, I think.
So am I picking two, or are you?
How many have you already picked? Two?
Yeah, I've already picked two, but I thought it was like back and forth. So you pick two, now
So
I
you
pick
pick
one.
two. You pick two, and then I'll pick one. That's fine.
Okay. For defense, I'm gonna have to go with. I'm gonna mispronounce his name. My guy out of Troy, showing some love to it. Carlton Marshall, I believe it is, out of Troy. He's a linebacker. Had the most tackles for loss this season with 114. Not a lot to say about him, but he plays really well defensively. He has the speed sideline to sideline, and the guy has a sixth sense about him for defense, and for a linebacker position, that's absolutely massive. For my number two defensive pick, I'm going to have to go with I'm going to mispronounce this name too.
Quiddy.
Derek Katine from Georgia Southern. Kid was just an absolute baller. I mean, he led the nation in interceptions this year. Was one of the leaders with 6 interceptions this year for all conferences. Really was able to just be all over the field. I think I'm looking at his stats right now. He only allowed one pass over 20 yards and didn't allow a pass for under 5 yards. So on those short routes on third and fourth downs, if you're trying to throw short his way, you're not completing it. So, I mean, he's a true freshman. I think he's got a bright future.
Yeah. And then for my last pick, I'm going to take Zach Wilson out of BYU because on my offense, I already drafted the great wide receiver. I plan to, if I was actually doing a draft, I would draft Kyle Wilson or whatever his name is, Zach Wilson, and then build a spread offense around him and with a dominant defensive line in secondary. Linebackers don't matter. So that's it for me. So we'll put those out to you guys, and whoever thinks who has the best one wins. But so with that, we are heading into
trivia.
We're heading into our final trivia of 2020. So like I said, that's got to be past 2000 for the most part, preferably during the playoff era. But yeah, go ahead first.
So mine, I'm gonna kind of go towards award base for this round. We're doing 2 or 3 questions?
We'll do 2 questions today.
Okay. In the modern era, so early 2000s, they started ranking kind of the percent of points possible that a player could get for the Heisman. Who is one? This person had one of the lowest ever. So he's an early 2000 Heisman winner. If you wanna, I can't really give you the school because it will just give it away. But
Can you say just what your what the just say what you originally said because I'm trying to search for something. Go ahead.
yeah, no. So they started in the early 2000s, going back through the years of the possible percentage of points possible for a Heisman winner to get. This winner was an early 2000s winner. He had one of the lowest ever for possible. He got
Lowest ever.
the lowest percentage of points ever. He's in like the top 10 for lowest percentage points ever to win the award at 27.75%.
Early 2000s. Jason White.
Nope.
All right, go ahead and send it to me. Mm, 2010. I knew it was that year. Eric Crouch. Okay. Okay. So in 2010, Boise State, obviously the darling. Everyone thought this was going to be their year that they would get in because they started out the preseason ranked like 3 or 4, and they beat somebody in a neutral field. I want to say, bless you.
Thank you.
I want to say a good team on a neutral field, and they went into their last game as the number 2 ranked team in the BCS. They would obviously still have to play their conference championship. But in their last regular season game, who did they lose to in 2010 in overtime? I give you a hint. The quarterback of this team was very popular when he was in the NFL, but very opinionated, and now is no longer in the NFL.
Can you repeat it? Because I got discombobulated because of my sneeze. Sorry.
So in 2010, Boise State was undefeated. They finally came into the year ranked 3 or 4. So everyone thought this was going to be their chance to finally make the national championship. They started out undefeated, and then their last game of the regular season, they played this team and lost in overtime after Boise State's kicker missed the game-winning field goal from 27 yards in regular time, and then also missed a 35-yard field goal in the first overtime to give this team to let them win by a field goal in the first overtime. Their quarterback, like I said, very controversial figure, was pretty good. Played in one Super Bowl, and but no longer is in the league.
Was it 2010? Was it Utah?
No, you're close though. Like that area, you're close.
Okay.
I'll type it in for you.
Yeah.
I can't believe you didn't get the quarterback.
Uh, all right. I forgot. I was confused. I thought it was the next year that was.
Stop trying to make excuses for yourself.
All right, whatever. All right. So going back to kind of trophy winnings, I would take two possible answers. So again, more current Heisman, who has the highest percentage? No one has ever won it unanimously, but who is the player with the highest to earn the highest possible percentage of points for a Heisman winner?
So this is early 2000s.
No, I said this is I would take no. This one is not early 2000s. I'm just saying this
This
is
is more modern.
yes. I would take two answers for this because there is two possible answers.
Is one of them Burrow?
Yes.
Okay, I get one.
Yeah, you got the one. So
Who is it?
Joe Burrow had 93.8 points. 93.8% of total possible points.
Who was the other one?
Vacated title Reggie Bush
Okay.
91.77. I didn't know if I would take either one of those because I know that
I didn't know
Burrow
we won by that much.
who Reggie
Yeah.
or yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me think real quick. Okay. I think have I asked you this? I don't know. I haven't asked you this. I might have. Okay. 2002 national championship. Ohio State versus Miami, Florida. Obviously, the big. I mean, you've seen highlights. I'm sure it was the big pass interference call that the flag came out late. The pass interference on Miami. Who was Craig Krenzel, the quarterback at Ohio State? Who was he throwing to in the corner of the end zone?
Oh,
He played both ways, and his last name is something that you do at the casino, and he played for the Panthers.
so you're talking about who was the wide receiver it was thrown to?
Yeah, he was throwing to who didn't catch it, but then the flag came out. I'll take
Oh,
the
you
defend. I'll take any of the three. The guy he was throwing to, the defender, or the referee.
you want me to give you the referee name?
I said I'll take any of them.
Oh God. I know the jersey number
What number?
7.
Yes.
Oh
What do you do at a
God.
casino?
Well, yeah, you do a lot of things at a casino. I just
Okay,
don't.
what is it called when we make our picks? What is it called?
Oh, you're betting.
It starts with a G.
Gam. Oh, Chris Gamble.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, thank you. I knew the jersey number. I'm like, wait,
Yeah,
I
I
remember.
would have given you the jersey number. That's just funny because when I interviewed Meisel, the Indians beat reporter, I think I may have told you this, but I interviewed Meisel, and he was the editor in chief at the Lantern at Ohio State for like a year, so he knew everything about it. He's like, so I asked him that question too, and he's like, he had the name of the person defending Gamble and the ref's name, but he couldn't remember Gamble. He couldn't remember Gamble's name.
Well,
Um, so that'll do it for us today. Uh, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Maybe I'll do a live blog, or maybe I'll
mhm,
run a stream if we're watching it. But we'll see. So everyone, be prepared. It's going to be a big day tomorrow. Enjoy
yeah,
your new year. Don't get too drunk tonight.
yeah.
Or if
Some
you
of us
do,
still have work in the morning, so
you have work on New Year's Day.
yeah.
I'm sorry, man. That stinks.
I have work 8 to 5, so
I mean, you could always just party at work, um, but yeah, no. So make sure if you're out tonight, you have a safe driver. If you live near me or call me, I don't drink, so I can come pick you up, but don't do that. Um, so yeah, everyone have a happy new year.
yep.
And well, obviously we will put out our schedule for next week. I'm thinking. So what day is the championship on?
It said it was going to be on January 9th.
January 9th. So January 1st is tomorrow. That means
It's a week and a day, so it's a Saturday.
yeah, so it's a Saturday. So we'll either do a Tuesday or Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday show.
We probably will do it Thursday because I might be going on a trip on from the 8th to the 10th. So
Okay. We'll figure that all out next week. But thanks everyone for tuning in to us this year. 2020 has sucked for a lot of people. But if you're listening to this, you made it through it, and it's gonna get worse. But there's always, as Batman says, there's always dark before the brightest dawn. I don't know. So everyone have a happy New Year's. Jake, you got anything, man?
no, everyone just be safe, as Justin said. Don't do anything stupid. 2020 has been a rough year for everyone. Stay home, party by yourself, or party with friends at home if you can. But just be safe and look forward to 2021.
If you're an Uber driver, congratulations, you made a lot of money tonight. Later,
Yeah,
folks.
probably.